In this episode, let's take a look at some forgotten 80s playsets. So, stick around. Hello, fellow dorks and dorkettes, and welcome to Nostalgia Syndrome. My name is Rob, and in this episode, we are going to take a look at some more forgotten 80s playsets. This is actually the 13th installment of the Forgotten 80s playset episodes. And if you remember, I think it was back in December when I started, I made mention that I was starting to redo my 80s toy catalog or encyclopedia or whatever you want to call it. And in doing so, I unlocked a bunch of new playsets that I didn't know existed. So I'm very excited to get back to this topic, and just a heads up, there will be many more installments of these episodes in the future. Anyway, enough of all that. Let's get to number 1. Our first forgotten 80s playset comes from the Princess of Power toy line, and it was released by Mattel in 1986. This is the Crystal Falls playset. And yes, it's not really forgotten because it's from a very popular toy line. A very popular spin-off of one of the most popular toy lines of the 1980s, the Masters of the Universe toy line. But anyway, the Crystal Falls kind of go hand in hand with the Crystal Castle. They both have the same kind of ethereal pink color scheme, which is really awesome. Now, these waterfalls are home to Mermista, but any of the characters could take advantage of this waterfall and pool. Now, there were many little shells on the sides for the characters to hang out on, and it came with a ton of accessories. Towel, combs, brushes, things like that. Now, it had a little pump feature that you would pump the water from the small pool at the bottom, that it would track up to the top and fall down, hence the falls. Now, built into the rocks and shells that adorn this playset, you have a clothing hook, a towel rack, and a reflective mirror. So, this was a great place for any of the Princess of Power action figures to hang out, and that includes Bo, who actually made an appearance at the falls in the cartoon. But anyway, I think I found something that can explain this a lot better than me. The original commercial. So, let's check it out.
You can pretend magic water gently calls, refresh all powers at Crystal Falls. You put it together. Starburst Shearer and Mermista dolls each sold separately. What a lovely place to be, feeling pampered beautifully. With seashells and showers that have secret powers. The fate of the world's in good hands at Crystal Falls. Princess of Power. Crystal Falls and Mermista with Mermaid Tail each sold separately. Starburst Shearer doll also sold separately. New from Mattel.
Our second playset comes from Remco, also in the year 1986. And this is from the American Defense toy line, which has some heavy inspiration from G.I. Joe. They were 3 3/4 action figures with O-rings, and they had some really great designs. But anyway, this playset is the Armed Fortress. Now, that's a very grand name for something that's awfully small. This was sold on a blister pack, and it doesn't really have a lot to offer, but if you were into those military toys like G.I. Joe, American Defense, or any of the other 3 3/4 inch O-ring military figures that were out there, this was pretty awesome. Now, this small little encampment has a turret on the top that could twist back and forth. It also came with many other gun entrenchments and accessories that your action figures could use. I mean, heck, it even came with an awesome little field radio. So this would have been a great addition to your playtime universe. I mean, bust this out for your G.I. Joes and it would fit perfectly. Or if you were a collector of American Defense or any of the other Remco offshoots, of course, this would be perfect. Now, surprisingly, I really couldn't find that many of them out on the open market, other than ones that were still sealed in their blister pack, or one that was sold in a group of other smaller playsets that were in the Remco toy line. So the prices that I found are one mint on card and one with a collection of other small little playsets. I mean, for the price, it doesn't seem that hateful. But anyway, let's get to number 3. Our third 80s playset was one that I kind of went back and forth on because it's definitely a vehicle, but it's definitely a playset as well. Playset kind of won out, and I'm happy about that because I get to add it to this list. This comes from the Ring Raiders toy line that was released by Matchbox in 1988. Now, this playset / vehicle is called Air Carrier Justice. Now, the Ring Raiders, if you don't remember, were small little jets, kind of Micro Machine-esque, that came on rings, that you could put them on your hand so you can, fly around, have dog fights, what have you. I mean, they are a neat little footnote in 80s toys. Unfortunately, they didn't really go anywhere. They tried to have a cartoon series, but it didn't really last the pilot phase. No pun intended. Planes pilots. Anyway, this playset looks massive for what it is. I mean, yes, we are dealing with Micro Machine-esque jets and planes and helicopters and the like. But when you look at them compared to the size of Air Carrier Justice, yeah, this was a pretty big playset. Now, this playset had multiple places to store your Ring Raiders, and it also had a lot of and I'm assuming because I couldn't find a ton of information on it, little areas where you could slide the ring with the plane and launch them off the air carrier. Now, the wings could fold up, and it almost looked like it could be an awesome display piece to put your Ring Raiders. But when you got down and dirty and folded the wings down and played with this thing, I could see limitless potential if you were into the small plane craze at the time. Now, I have to make a correction real quick because I took a gander at the box art real quick, and not only the wings up being what I think a very cool display case, it's also a carrying case. How awesome is that? I mean, you can take this thing wherever you go, bust out the Air Raiders, have some dog fights, and just have a blast. But anyway, again, I don't do any justice to explaining this awesome playset, so I found a commercial straight from the UK that kind of sums it up a lot better than I can. So let's take a look at it.
Ring Raiders! Air Carrier Justice on full alert. Skull Squadron, all pilots ready for takeoff. This is the ultimate battle for the skies. Ring Raiders, the command is in your hand.
For our fourth playset, I'm kind of going back to basics. In our first few episodes of Forgotten 80s playsets, I included the Karate Kid toy line from Remco. There were a lot of kind of crazy and awesome playsets in this toy line. Now, this one, the Breakaway Challenge, again, released by Remco, came out in 1986. Now, the Karate Kid toy line, all the figures had either a punch or kick play feature. So what better way to take advantage of that play feature than to have a breakaway challenge? Now, most of the figures came with small little breakable bric-a-brac on their own, but this offered different things to break, and it also offered 2 gis that you could put on your characters that had different scoring parts on them, so you could have a little sparring session with your Karate Kid characters. Now, it also came with a cardboard backdrop that was kind of dojo-ish in theme. Now, the breakaway items that it came with were a stack of boards, some bottles, and a cardboard cutout of a ninja that Daniel LaRusso could take out. Now granted, there weren't any ninjas in the movies. That would have been a very awesome addition, but I mean, the toys really hammered down on the whole ninja thing, because a lot of the playsets came with these little cardboard ninjas that you could bust up, I assume. Anyway, as fate would have it, and I find this very crazy, most of the items that I found for sale are still in box. There's a lot of these out there still mint, and that's pretty awesome. Now, the prices reflect just a few loose and a lot of the boxed ones. Now, who would have thunk? I mean, I wouldn't think that many of them would survive, being Remco and the Karate Kid, but just the fact that so many of them still are mint in box is kind of neat to see. Now, of course, I can find some of the various breakable bric-a-brac, alone, not within the set, for a smaller price, but it didn't offer all the different things, and you didn't get the cool backdrop or ninjas. So, if you really wanted to get this, you can find one that is an awesome display piece still in the box. But it definitely has the price tag to go along with that. Now for our 5th and final forgotten 80s playset. This is from a toy line that takes heavy inspiration from the Smurfs. This was actually released by Shapper in 1983. This was part of the Astroniks toy line, and this is the space platform. Now, it's a very simple thing. You could even say it falls within the Rad Rides vehicle side of things, but this is a space platform. So to me, that sounds like a playset. So anyway, it has a plastic dome that can lift up, and you can put your Astroniks inside of it, and it has some really nice details on the stickers that go around on it. Now, one of the very interesting things that I found, I only found 2 of them for sale online, and one of them heavily weathered. The white of the original space platform has turned a brownish yellow type color. Now, the second one that I found was still in box, but from where that window is on the front of the box, that part was yellowed, but the rest of it, that pristine white. It's just amazing how much light can affect a white plastic toy. How many of you still have a original Storm Shadow that is very yellowed over time? I know I do. And yeah, that kind of stinks, but that just shows how well loved he was. And it goes for this space platform as well. One of them, very well loved and played with. The other one, still included with the box and has minimal wear, but it still has evidence of the test of time on it. Anyway, enough of all that. Now, the Astroniks, they had a place in toy history, let alone them being a little bit of an inspired toy line from Smurfs. They were featured in Happy Meals multiple years in a row, and they have some very interesting styles to some of their characters. they kind of go off the beaten path of the Smurf way of doing things and feature some really funky looking characters. So I give them serious props for that. And they have little robots and stuff, so super cool. Anyway, I found an original Astroniks commercial. Although it doesn't make reference to the space platform, it does appear in the commercial. So let's take a look at that, shall we?
Welcome to the world of Astroniks, the lovable little green people from the planet Snickerion. Good guys and, well, not so good guys. They're fun to play with because you can make up all kinds of intergalactic adventures.
Hey, you two, stop! Right there! Run for the Space-Mobile!
They even have their own Space-Mobile. Astroniks, characters and Space-Mobile each sold separately from Shopper and Snickerion.
Okay folks, that was a look at 5 forgotten 80s playsets. And we took a look at a little bit of everything, from the more prestigious action figures like Princess of Power to the Astroniks, which, like I said, have their place in 80s toy history. And I think they're pretty cool. Never was able to get any of them, but they would be great friends with my Smurf toys. They wouldn't be fighting over who came first or who's cooler. They would get along. But anyway, I just want to say it's been a very long time since I've actually sat down and filmed. So I apologize for that, and I apologize if this seems a little off, but I'm just getting my sea legs, as they say. Just getting back into the swing of things. I mean, I hate to say it, but I've been using my free time to not film, but do a ton of research. I branched out into some other forgotten things, we'll just say, in the 70s and 80s. And one day I'll get to the 90s. But one day I will unveil those in episodes, and hopefully everyone enjoys them as much as I enjoyed researching it. So anyway, we'll just leave it at that. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you got something to say, please leave a comment. I love reading them, and I love getting back to everyone. And if you're new around here and you enjoyed this or any of the episodes that YouTube is recommending down here, please hit subscribe. And if you hit that little bell icon, you'll be notified whenever there's a new episode. So anyway, until next time, thank you so much for watching. Keep being rad and stay dorky.